Hey there, Rusty Nelson here, talking watercolor. And today in the Midwest, it's freaking cold. I think it was negative 10 or 12 degrees this morning when we had to get up and head off to school. So, yeah, so we're in the thick of winter trying to survive the Arctic plunge. And yeah, it's been, I've got my extra heavy shirt on, so trying to stay warm. And what else has been going on? Oh man, I have had, well, hell, you've already heard me whining from last week about my start to the semester and how busy it's been. And yeah, it's been busy and various things, just trying to get used to a new schedule and find the time to do what I need to do for the YouTube channel, in addition to everything I'm doing up to the school. So yeah, you already heard me whining about that. So... But it gets even better. Over the weekend, I was working on and editing Monday's post, and I was going to post it. We had Martin Luther King Day off, right? So there's no classes or anything. Everything up to university was closed. So I was going to jump on early morning on Monday and get in and wrap up. Had a couple of finishing touches to do to my Monday post. Had to do a little voiceover Rusty action, and went and clicked and launched CapCut, and that's the software I use to been using to edit my videos. And lo and behold, it wasn't available because I'm such a wizard at my technology and everything. I didn't realize that CapCut was part of the whole China ban with TikTok and everything. So I didn't have access to my file that I'd edited and was getting ready to render out to upload. So I was quickly trying to do some quick down and dirty tutorials on some other software. I think it's DaVinci Resolve is what I was looking at. And I had already downloaded. I had it on my computer already, but yeah, I didn't know how to really work with it yet. So I spent yesterday afternoon doing a crash course on DaVinci Resolve and how to edit videos there. And I did. I managed to get something edited and put together with what I was planning to post on Monday. But it was also a very rushed video in that it was just a roll. It was just a looking down view of a drawing tutorial. So I was pretty rushed last week trying to get something done. So it's probably better that I didn't get it posted, and I can spend some time and do a better one this week, hopefully. So, so yeah, that's been my start of this week already. So I hope this week isn't a week-long set of Monday catastrophes either. So anyway, yeah, and you saw in my last watercolor tutorial where I spilt water all over everything. So the start of my new year and my new semester has been pretty crazy so far. So anyway, that's what's been going on. So what am I going to be posting then this coming Friday or Saturday is going to be another little quick watercolor demo. I think I'm going to go over hue, value, and saturation with watercolor, and maybe I did a quick little landscape talking about the 4 states of watercolor, but I got to thinking about it. I'm not sure if I covered all of the 4 states, so I'll just do a real quick overview of the 4 states again, along with some color application. I'm going to use a very limited color palette, CMYK again. And we'll mix up a color wheel, and we'll look at hue, value, saturation, and all that good stuff. So that's coming on Friday and Saturday. Again, we're doing some really basic, if you're new to the channel, starting a new year, so I'm kind of like treating it like the start of a new semester. So I'm going to go back and go over some of the fundamental basics on watercolor and drawing in the next few weeks before we get back to making some simple sketches and studies and things like that, still lifes and everything. So that's what we're going to be doing in this coming week. Again, I'll do a better drawing tutorial. It was definitely talking about just using basic shapes and how to create a sense of form using your mark making and value and tone, and then you taking those things you learn in a simple shape and moving them into more complex shapes like a face. So that's what we're going to be looking for in the next couple of videos that I'll be posting. So yeah, it's been a wild week. You know, I've seen some really good comments in the last couple days. Various people, you know, telling me they're getting back into drawing. You know, they've seen a couple of my videos and kind of feel like they'd like to get back, pick up that pencil and get back into it. Just saw one where a retired person saying, you know, they're going to do it again. They haven't drawn anything since they were 15. So great. That's exciting. That really makes me feel good, because that's really the whole point of why I started this channel, was to get people either to pick it up for the first time, you know, something to do. You know, you're bored, you're looking for activities and mental stimulation. Man, drawing and painting, this is the thing to do and to pick up. You can only play so many rounds of golf, right, in retirement. So this is kind of where I was at starting the channel. I was hoping to get people back into it, pick it back up if life got started and it got in the way, you know, it just kind of sidetracked them for maybe 40 years. So it sounds good. It sounds like fun. Great. I'm glad I've gotten you interested in it again. So definitely that's a nice thing to hear and get comments on. And let's see here. What other fun? You know, I've been hearing from a lot of former graphic designers. They like the fact that I'm talking about the old CMYK printing process and the colors used to reproduce 4-color printing. And, you know, as a designer, you had to definitely wrap your head around the idea of printing with just 4 colors to create a full color image. So, and I, you know, getting that acclimated when I was first starting working as a graphic designer, pre-computer, by the way. I had a drafting table with illustration boards and doing paste up and ruby lith, amber lith, all those things to construct a mechanical artwork that's sent over the printing company to reproduce something. And, you know, I tell my students all the time now that, you know, desktop publishing and the computers, digital design and all that, you know, the students can see what they're designing as they are putting it together. You know, in the old days, we had to kind of mentally envision it, you know, with the marker comps. If you wanted to pre-visualize what you wanted to show your client, you had to draw it. You had to get out your markers and your pencils and color pencils and really kind of sketch everything up and give the client an idea of what their design is going to look like. And now with the technology, you can see that you can tweak it and massage it, you know, very delicately to a point that we never could in the old days in the traditional sense. So you had to get pretty good at mentally projecting that idea of what that design was going to look like so you could construct it with the mechanical processes. So yeah, it's good to hear from the designers out there. And, you know, I always thought, you know, not that I went into design for this reason. I remember thinking as a sophomore painting major in a small Midwest private college, you know, what in the world am I going to do with a painting degree? And I made the decision probably my fall semester of my sophomore year to transfer to a state university and go into graphic design for very practical reasons that I wanted to work creatively, but I also wanted to make some money, and I thought graphic design offered a little better of a career path than the starving artist meme, I guess is a good word for it. So anyway, yeah, went into graphic design, and you know, it was a good lesson. You know, the program, the things you had to learn, it was pretty rudimentary back then. I don't think we did anything in a real sense where we took any of the designs we did in college and took them into final production. So that was left to my first 6 months working on a job in advertising, where I finally was applying a lot of the stuff I learned only theoretically in college, and learned how to apply it in a working sense. And I remember that first day, working as I was that lowly paste up artist getting out of college, getting my first job. And that first day having my inbox here and my outbox over here, and my inbox kept filling up and nothing was making its way over to the outbox. So that was a pretty painful, quick lesson on the importance of efficiency and getting stuff done. You didn't have the time that was allotted to you in college. They gave you a pretty nice and ample deadline, even though at the time I may not have thought about it. But yeah, it was definitely a eye-opening experience to become a professional designer. And I always thought, as I went through and learned more and more about design, it made me a better artist overall. And I was always interested in illustration, and I always did a lot of illustration in college, even as a designer. Every chance I took, I would do an independent study or something where I was always trying to refine my illustration skills, which entailed a lot of drawing and a lot of working with various media. Did a lot of color pencil and acrylic painting in college, and it wasn't until long after, maybe 2 or 3 years after I graduated college, while working in advertising, that I realized that all the illustrators that I really admired, the style and the work that they were producing, they were working with watercolor or gouache. So that's when I made that transition into painting with gouache. And if you are a little intimidated, which maybe a lot of people are, about watercolor, you may have heard that it's really hard. Well, it's not. It's very simple if you just know the rules of watercolor. And that's what I'll be definitely covering in the next few weeks, the fundamentals, the basics of watercolor and how to work with it, so it's not as frustrating. I mean, the worst thing I think schools do in grade school and junior high is make those kids work with that nasty tempera paint, and that if that doesn't stunt many a creative career, I don't know what does. So but yeah, we'll walk through. And I know what I was going to say, gouache is a nice kind of a bridge going from, if you're used to painting with oil and acrylic, it's a nice bridge and transition medium over to transparent watercolor. So gouache is essentially an opaque watercolor, but you can use gouache in a way that looks like and paints like acrylic and oil, and then you can start dabbling with the watercolor end of it. So I've done a lot of watercolor-ish looking gouache paintings, and I know it's really, it works both ways. So if you like painting with an acrylic or an oil with mixing all the whites and the blacks and all that, and you layer stuff up, then it's opaque when you paint on top of another color. Gouache is a perfect medium for you, but then you can also reactivate it and push it around and move it on the board after you've applied it. So, but that in itself has its own dangers. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing in the coming couple of videos. Both drawings are going to be coming out, just really focusing on shapes, being able to create a sense of form, and getting that modeling to happen. So you're taking and seeing, if from reference you're trying to translate what you're looking at in the reference, be it an actual 3D still life or a photograph, and you're translating it to a 2D plane and creating a sense and an illusion of three-dimensional form. So, and then with watercolor, it's just let's learn how to control it and what it does, and you'll be off to the races and having lots of fun with watercolor. So anyway, hey, I've been yakking on for about 15 minutes. This is a longer one for a change. I guess I had a lot to get off my chest after week one of classes up at the university and all my damn software drama and everything. So anyway, I'm going to get back on track and get my crap together, and hopefully be giving you some good value, entertainment, and education doing watercolor and drawing. So stay tuned. Hey, if you got any value out of this little talk, give me a like and a subscribe. Head over to my video description And then there's a link in there. You can head over to my website, download some Loomis drawing PDFs. They're great. Lots and tons of information in those. And I do have a good watercolor book as well from Joseph Zabukvik. Tons of information in that as well. So go out there, download them, and start perusing. It'll keep you entertained for a good week or two. So, hey, I'm glad you came in and watched today, and I hope to see you here next week talking watercolor.